Hello, this is Bill Dannenhauer here with Ballin with Bill. It's great to be here today. Thank you, Sideline Power, for presenting this program and getting it going. I want to introduce a good friend of mine I've known for a long, long time when he was assistant at Millard West and used to coach my nephew. And I've been a very successful coach at Omaha Burke, Paul Limongi.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's awesome,
Appreciate
Coach.
it.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Well, so I always like to start off and see, where you grew up, how you got started in football, and then how you progressed to becoming a football coach.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio. Lived there for 26 years, and about the time I was, 24, I went on a cruise with a couple buddies or a buddy of mine, and I happened to meet a girl from Elkhorn, Nebraska, the first night. So we got to meet each other. We got to spend a little time with each other, and by the end of the cruise, we found out that we might want to keep this thing going. So eventually we did a long distance thing and decided to get married and decided to live in Omaha. But before that, I was, grew up in Youngstown and had a great childhood. And, high school football is really big out there. It was fun playing. When I got done playing, I played at Youngstown Cheney, which has been around forever. It's a traditional, powerhouse school. A lot of great teams, a lot of great players, Heisman Trophy winner, All-Americans. So I was lucky enough to play there and had a nice little career there. And then, at the end of my senior year, the plan was to play in college. And, a couple things I had lined up didn't work out in my favor. So had a little bit of grade issues. So my head coach at the time, Ron Berta, said, why don't you help us out for a year, get back on track and see what happens a year after. So I did. So that first year was about 1989, 1990. I coached a freshman, a little bit of the scout team, and loved it. Coaching at the school I played at, and then I kind of got the bug after that. And then, the next year, a position opened up on the varsity, and it was a D-line position and assistant on the line, and I jumped on that and did that for 7 years. We had a lot of great success at Cheney, and then like I said, I met my wife. I went to Youngstown State, so I just graduated.
You went to Youngstown State?
Yeah, went to Youngstown State. So I just graduated from college, went on the cruise, and met my wife there. And the plan was for us to live in Youngstown because I was coaching and pretty established, had a good job, and my wife had a tough time getting a job. I mean, she was special ed, elementary ed. She couldn't get hired, and I got hired in Millard at an alternative school over the phone. So we figured, you know what, heck with it. Let's raise a family and live in Omaha. And I got to Omaha, and I thought, I was just going to teach. And I had a brother-in-law at the time that had a landscaping fencing business. So I wasn't planning on coaching because I thought it would never be the same. This isn't Youngstown. I don't know anybody. I did my thing. I'll just do something else. And then, one day, it was actually late at night. I got the itch. I told my wife Amy. I said, I got to coach. And I called all three Millard schools, and I couldn't get an 8th grade job, 7th grade. I couldn't get nothing. So, and then Dan McLaughlin, Fred Petito called me the same day. They both had openings. Dan called first, so they had a varsity defensive line opening. So I said, yeah, I'll take it, and spent 7 years there, and had great success, and then went to Burke. But I really enjoyed growing up in Youngstown, and I miss it, but this is my home now.
Did Bo Pelini play at the same time?
No, he was older than me. So when I was 8th grade freshman, he was a senior at Mooney. I remember Bo not only being the quarterback at Mooney, but he was really a good basketball player. That's kind of what I remember him as, and knew of him. We were a city school, so those privileged kids didn't pay much attention to us on the west side of Youngstown. So, but yeah, I mean, proud of what he's has done in college coaching as well as the Stoops, and there are countless others.
Stoops went to Mooney too, right?
Stoops went to Mooney as well. Yeah.
A lot of football history there in that.
There is.
In
there is.
Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah. So now you down here, and tell us about your experience at Miller, because I know you were there quite a lot with Dan and.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed
Dan and Kirk both there.
Yeah, great guys over at Millard West. I still have great friends there, and Pete's a good friend of mine. Chad Young, Chris Mole, Nick Danzy was there. The Turman brothers were there, and Dan McLaughlin. It was great. I enjoyed every second of it. We had a lot of fun. Had some great football teams there. Had a lot of success, and I just felt maybe I'll throw my hat in the ring of being a head coach, and the Burke job opened, and it was tough to leave Millard. There are a lot of great kids, a lot of great players that I had the opportunity to coach there, and it was a tough decision, and I wasn't sure if I was ready, for being the head coach, but I accepted it, and 15 years later, here I am.
I know you've been there for. I remember when I met you when you were coaching my nephew back in '01.
Oh yeah.
And when you had that real good team, you won the state
Oh
championship
yeah, that was
that
a
year.
great team. Yeah.
You had to play. Remember, you had to play Danny Woodhead. Was
Oh
in the
yeah,
finals.
Danny Woodhead was
And he was a sophomore that year.
We were like, his brother was a quarterback. I think his brother was a senior, and we knew their starter. I can't remember his name, but the starting tailback was a really good player, and he got hurt. And then we went in knowing that they're going to play a backup. Little did we know that this backup was Danny Woodhead, and I think third play of the game he goes 80.
Yeah, remember
And
that?
like,
I was at the
good
game.
Lord,
that
who's
night.
this guy? And he had a great game. Both the Woodhead brothers played really well, and we ended up getting some things going, and kind of.
It was a good ball game.
But it was
But,
good.
I mean,
yeah,
nobody knew who he was till that night. I
Yeah,
mean,
he did well, and then kind of Nick Leaders and Robbie Morrissey and Jake Duggar and Scott McLaughlin kind of took it over a little bit, and we got that first state championship, I think, at Millard West.
yeah, you did. That was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 01. So I remember that's when I first got to know you.
Yeah, that was
Dan at time.
the year before. We lost to Prep in the semis on a block punt. That was
That's
really
right.
that was
I
in
didn't see
2000.
that.
That was a
Here yet.
phenomenal Millard West team. And then my first year at Millard West, we lost to Prep in the state championship. So my first 3 years at Millard West, man, we had some teams.
Yeah, you
and
did.
They were really good, and it was finally good to get that one in 2001 against a good North Platte team, and we beat that year we beat Southeast with all those the Rudes and the Gordon.
Yeah, the Gordon played on the baseball team that year.
Yeah, there were ton of great Ragoni. I mean, that was a hell of a team we beat on the way to Lincoln, and we got
Yeah, they
things
beat
clicking.
Millard West and they had Millard North. I mean, they
Yeah,
had
Millard North was
had a good team
too.
that year too.
Yeah, North Platte beat Millard North up in North Platte because we were Dan McLaughlin got upset at us because we were getting ready to play, I think, Lincoln Southeast, and we're like, North Platte won, okay, and he was like, you guys better not be thinking about that game. We got a big one tonight.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking care of business and went and played North Platte and got the gold.
Yeah, you did. It was an exciting season because I got to go to a lot of the games. I
Oh,
tried
yeah.
to, if I wasn't out recruiting, try to go to that game, like my recruiting night, and go watch
Yeah.
my nephew and that team
Yeah,
play.
Bobby was a great player,
And-
and he
and
did great.
And you guys were a fun team to watch.
Yeah, that was a good team. That was a hard-nosed, tough team.
So now you finally get the job at Burke.
Yep.
And so you had the Youngstown background in coaching, and then you had the when you came to Omaha and worked with those guys out at Millard West. So how did you put it all together to be the type of head coach that you are today?
Yeah, so basically, I wasn't really that sure I'd be able to get the Burke job just because I didn't have head coaching experience. I didn't know anybody, once again, other than the Millard West crew. And I kind of threw my hat in the ring, and I know, I knew your brother, and he really helped me, and Dan, and even Coach Petito gave me some good recommendations. So I interviewed, and I did horribly. I mean, I did horribly. I stuttered. I blanked out. I didn't do well, and I thought, oh man, there's no way. So then I think they offered the job to a couple people, and they didn't take it for one reason or another. And I got a call back, and I told myself I will not screw this next interview up. So I prepared a little bit more, and I went in a little bit more relaxed, and I must have said some good enough things to get offered the job. I had to put a staff together, and I basically, I heard Bo Pelini said that you want to have a philosophy of your whatever and it started at Millard West with the defense of this ET concept. We used ET at Millard West for many years when I was D coordinator. Effort and toughness, that kind of symbolizes where you came from, how you learned the game. What if you look at your team, how do you want it to be represented? And the first thing I thought, I wanted to play with great effort. I wanted to be tough. So that's where the whole ET thing came. So I wanted to build my program at Burke to be based on effort and toughness, because at Millard West we had the defense that that carried on that tradition. But I felt let's bring it all to Burke, and let's let that be our mission. That no matter what we do, whether it be in the classroom, in the community, on the football field, lifting weights, whatever we're doing, we're gonna give effort and toughness, because I truly feel that if you give effort in life and you're tough mentally and physically, that you're gonna do okay. And so I took that, and that was the premises of everything. And then I used, some things I learned at Cheney, back in Youngstown. The guy that I played for and coached with, Ron Burtis, he's a Hall of Famer out there. He's the one who taught me a lot about the brotherhood, the unity, getting the community involved, like doing all the extra stuff. That really, I think, makes a great program. So I used all that, and then I used a lot of the offense and defensive philosophies that I learned at Millard West with the defense, some offensive concepts, and kind of put it together. And then it took a little bit of time, and then we got it rolling a little bit. And each year you try to get better and learn a little bit more to where we're at now.
So on building your kids, what type of philosophy do you use? I mean, because I just look at the years that you've been there and what you've done, and how you've had a couple down, but then you get right back, and you've pretty been a consistent winner.
Yeah.
So what do you do philosophy wise to get kids there and coach them up and build them to where you send these kids off and have a lot of success in college?
Yeah. So the culture has never changed since 2006 at Burke. Basically, whatever we do, we want to give, the most amount of effort we can and be mentally and physically tough. So, basically we thought, we started, family and faith is our number one core value. You gotta, nothing's more important than your family and the faith that you have. And then in school, we wanted to make sure that our kids won in the classroom, not getting all A's, but getting the best possible grades they can get, and holding them accountable all year, not just during football season. And if they need some help, we're getting them help. We're getting peer tutoring. We're getting teachers to help with tutoring, monitoring their grades constantly, and that goes along with their behavior. If you want to play at Burke, you gotta have great behavior.
Right.
You gotta have respect. You gotta respect your teachers. You gotta respect your peers. You just gotta be great in the classroom. And then we wanted to bring the community in as well, because the community lets us play this great game. And we want to give back, and I think you get a better respect for each other doing things, whether it's helping with the Special Olympics, Open Door Mission, Habitat for Humanity. We always got involved in helping out. We did tornado relief out in Wisner when that hit a few years back. We always do things in the community to help out, and our kids love it, and that's part of our our culture as well. And then the last thing is football. And we figure if we do all those other things well and as best we can, that winning games and being successful on the football field will kind of take care of itself. Right. And you mix all that together with establishing a brotherhood, a close-knit group where they love each other, coaches love them, they love each other, we care for them, we're out for their well-being. You get that mix, and you're tough on them, and you're disciplined, and you work them harder than ever. And they start to callous up a little bit, and each year builds on the next, and it starts, it just starts being a traditional type thing, a thing that's kind of contagious from year to year. Kids pick up on it, and that's everything, and it stems from that effort and toughness. And we say a lot, do what's right, not what's popular. Be uncommon. All those we felt we used these cliches that everybody used when nobody else did. I mean, we used them 15 years ago. Everybody uses certain cliches now. Be uncommon, to do all this, culture. We used that long time ago, and we feel we're excited about that. Our kids buy into it, and each year we don't really have to teach it anymore. We just got to make sure it's maintained.
You look for your senior leadership.
Senior leadership is one of the underlying issues to any successful program, we think.
Good deal. Now, I watch you because I remember the offense you ran at Millard West when you were coaching there, and then your offense, what you've done and adapted and done different things, and you kind of become multiple, but then I've seen you run, you've been very, how do you adjust and make your offense like it is? Because sometimes I've seen you power run it, sometimes I've seen you run the option to deck, and sometimes I've seen you run option and throw the ball real well too, depending on your talent. Very nice passing game. So, you've been very, what I want to say, adaptable to your personnel. How do you do that and accomplish that and keep that in your system?
Yeah. So when I first started, we were under center and we were in the I and we ran the basic plays, power and ISO and in toss, and we had a little bit of success and some play action, some 3-step, 5-step. But then I think year 2 or 3, when Danny Jackson was offensive coordinator, we went out and visited Gene Sura out at Wayne, and he had this
long time Papillion coach, right?
Oh yeah, and he did the pistol,
yeah,
and did some things off of that. The pistol spread, we've called it for many years. I don't know if that's a real thing, but that's kind of what we do it. Where you're establishing an aggressive run game. We always want to start off running the football. We want to be physical, and we're going to run power, and we're going to run counter, which we call tag, and we're going to, some years we do zone, some years we do more gap scheme, depending on our personnel. But since that time we met Gene Sura, everything's kind of off those concepts of, because I wanted to play it. I wanted an offense that gave me the most trouble as a defensive coordinator, and I played against Papillion and Coach Sura when I was at Millard West. In my first year at Burke, we played him, and he just stomped us. And I said, I don't know what they're pulling one way, reading this guy, coming back away from the pullers. So we simulated that, to incorporate our concepts. We didn't use everything, but depending on who our quarterback is, we'll run some option, and we'll read a guy, and we'll give it if the defense tells us to give it. And we haven't changed much. We'll change the concepts, but we want to run the football, and we want to do some RPOs, and we want to have a nice 3-step game, nice play action game, and it's pretty simple. We don't run many plays. We just try to perfect what we run and build on it each year, and take some things out here and there. And our offensive coordinator right now is Sam Calabretto, and he does a phenomenal job with it. And the concepts basically always stay the same, but we might tweak things here and there based on who our running backs are, what our line looks like. Is our quarterback a dual threat? Is he have more of a thrower? Is he a combo guy? A lot of that's based on our personnel. But the base scheme, the pistol spread type thing, running the ball first is always a mainstay.
You're the one in the state championship. You did open. I mean, you had that personnel that you opened the ball up.
Oh yeah,
we
were well balanced.
That's the most in that year. That's exciting as far as what you did. I mean, passing and running both together.
Oh yeah, I mean we could do a lot of different things. You got James Burke at tailback, who's one of the greatest running backs in Nebraska history, who carried the ball for us and ran like a man possessed. And then you had Chadwick, who wasn't much of a runner, but when he had to, he would sneak out there and pull the ball and take it 60 or 80. He was pretty elusive. And then then we had receivers. We had Watts, we had Hickman, we had Michael Payne. We had a lot of good receivers that we could throw the ball up. So we were really well balanced. And but even that year, we wanted to make sure we won some games. Because we could run the ball, and
you did.
We beat Millard West in a game. We were down by a couple touchdowns, and we just pounded we ran tag like 17 times. I mean, not in a row, but tag or power, or, toss. I mean, we kind of got it going there a little bit, and then you pull the ball back and you hit Watts on a slant, and
Yeah, you hit Watts on a slant. It was gone most of the time.
I mean, that's
that guy had that gear that.
Chadwick, our quarterback, was really did a great job reading the defense. The outside linebacker did one thing, we did another, and he was excellent at it.
Yeah, you couldn't give him space because if you did, he was gone.
Yeah. So we just had great talent, and those guys played together, and we were able to move the ball pretty well the last couple of years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now I know you're a defensive-minded coach because that's when I first met you. You're always a tough, hard-nosed, and your kids were always your coach were tough, hard-nosed. Philosophies-wise, besides that, what do you do scheme-wise, and what is your plan when you go out in defense, coach?
Yeah. So defensively, always been a 4-4 guy. Even when I was in Youngstown, we were in the 4-4, and then got to Millard West, and man, they really perfected on how that 4-4 was to be played. Peterson and Greg Dushkot from way back when perfected this 4-4, the concepts, the coverages, and Millard West always plays great defense, and I learned a lot about defensive football while I was coaching at Millard West, and then we wanted to bring those same concepts. We were pretty much mirror image early at Burke was basically a 4-4, and we did some things with 3-man front and with some coverages things to mix things up as we went. But now we still play the 4-4, but we're more of a 3-4 type defense, just because of the offenses you're seeing now. It gets us in better positions, and we like to mix it up a little bit. And I turned the defensive coordinator duties over to Ben Ryan.
He
last
played
couple
for me,
years.
man. He's a good kid.
Yeah, and he does a great job with our defense, and making different looks, different fronts, different coverages. But it all stems from flying to the football, knocking the crap out of the ball carrier, being a good tackling team, having good, easy to understand coverages that may not always look the same, but just aggression and sprinting to the ball, and making a system where, based on what they do is kind of what we're going to run, and we could do a couple different things, whether it's a 3-4 or 4-4, or maybe get into some 5-man things that's in our philosophy that we seem to match up pretty well against offenses, depending on what we're going to act that way on the defensive side, and do some things that keep them a little unbalanced, to give our kids the best opportunity to succeed and get to the football. We don't want them thinking a whole bunch, but basically it's just read and react and go and run and try to get as many takeaways as you can, and we do a great job, I think, with Coach Ryan at the helm of our defense of getting our kids to believe in that.
He's a nice safety for me. I mean, he did a good job when I was there at 10, and he was our free safety, so he was other than the middle linebacker, responsible for getting us lined up and getting us in the right calls. And Ben always did an excellent, very good student of the game.
Yeah, he is.
Was a good student in the classroom.
Works his tail off.
Was an academic All-American, so I can see him being a good leader and a good coach out there for a good coach, and he's done a nice job out there. I mean, your defenses have embodied what you believe in. You can tell.
Right.
And you've gone a lot more to the 3-man.
We have.
Is it harder to find D linemen now? Is that it too, or is it just strictly a scheme thing?
No, I think you want some pretty. If you only have 3, they need to be pretty good.
Right.
And we could develop defensive linemen to where we think they're going to be effective. But what we've done, I mean, sometimes this year we would have had a great D line. I mean, we had all 3 were returning type guys, big and strong, but you can kind of mix that 3-man. If they're a smaller, quicker, tougher type kid, you can slant and angle. You could pinch them. If they're big and strong, they could just read. And we have the ability to do whatever. Based on our defensive concepts, it just depends on our personnel. But it's if you only have 3 D linemen, they need to be pretty effective.
I guess say
And your outside linebackers, sometimes they're standing up and they're 4x1, or sometimes their hands in the dirt and they're playing like a DN. So they got to be versatile.
They got to be
as
multiple,
well.
don't they?
Yeah, they got to be multiple, and then you got to have 2 good inside backers, and you got to have safeties that like to run and hit, and corners that are good cover guys, but also they need to be able to tackle. If we're not going to hide anybody. We need our best 11 to play defense, and that's usually how it's been.
Now, with a different way of doing things today, how do you work more on your tackling than compared to like when you were playing or I was playing? Or
so we do a circuit every Tuesday, and Coach Ryan does a great job of breaking down tackling. It's kind of that old concept of the rugby tackling,
right?
But
people have gone a lot more to that.
Yeah, and we changed the concepts around to make sure their heads up and they have good leverage and their staggered step, and we do a lot of things that that try to get the kids in the best position so it becomes habitual. We start with just their feet and their approach, and bringing the uppercuts and making sure they're seeing what they're hitting, and we break that down in a series of steps. We do that first, and then, like I said, once the season starts, every Tuesday we try to do a circuit. Where they're getting the basics down and the fundamentals down. So, we really become a good tackling team, and we're always focused. We tell our defense always focus on the near hip. We constantly say that because so many teams overrun the running back and he puts his foot in the ground, he goes the other way. But if you were focused on the near hip, that wouldn't happen. So if everybody goes to the near hip, depending on where your leverage is, the running back should never get away. So and you got to coach it, and obviously sometimes it doesn't work the way you want it to. But for the most part, if our kids believe in that concept and coach it well enough, we're going to be a pretty good tackling team. So we just work on the fundamentals as much as we possibly can. So it's second nature to our kids. So when the lights are on, they just go and play.
Yeah, and that's your defense has always played very well. I've always thought you're aggressive from your Middle West days to Burke too. I thought they've always played solid defense, Coach.
And that's something I learned, back in Youngstown. You love to play defense.
They're known for that, there, aren't they?
Well, you'd rather hit than win in Youngstown. That's not a bad concept. I still believe in that too. I just like to out hit you.
Yeah, I could see
kind
that.
of a personal thing. Usually, when you out hit teams, you win anyway.
Yeah.
So,
as long as you don't turn the ball over, that's probably
right.
Yeah. So that's the other main thing.
Take care of the football.
Is take care of the football. Yeah. So now that you look at, I was talking to a friend of mine, Dan, from Colorado State Pueblo, and the thing I feel most bad about this season is the seniors.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I mean, like he was talking about, like Division I, they're going to add scholarships on.
Yeah.
But no other level is going to do that. Like NAI, they're going to go in. They're playing now, then they're going to finish up in the spring and do their championship. So they're going to graduate their kids.
Yeah.
But and D3 is going to play in the spring. But D2 is probably not going to maybe play at all. They'll probably do some scrimmages this spring, and that's it. But they're not going to play because can't have a championship.
Right.
But I was talking to them, and they're not going to add any scholarships on. So recruiting wise, that's going to affect a lot of our seniors today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who I feel the most. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean,
yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, I told you earlier, at the college level, I'm experienced it with. I have two daughters that play Division I soccer, and both their seasons were canceled, and I think it's playing now that they're going to start up in the spring to go, and they do get an extra year, and we're thinking right now that they're both probably going to take it, but
gotcha.
You just don't know with the finances and what the future holds. But yeah, that's I experienced that too. It's very difficult for them, and my youngest, who's a freshman soccer player, she missed her spring season at Elkhorn South, and now she's missing her fall season in college. So she's had a tough year. So
oh my goodness.
So she hasn't really played in a while, and luckily she got some games in the summer. But it's tough, and we have a lot of players on our team that are like the Division II NAI type kids that we're working hard to make sure that they are looked at, and we think we could get the guys in as best we can with some scholarships, but it's going to be limited.
Yeah, that's what he said. They're not going to be that many unless kids graduate.
As many, we average 10 to 12 kids every year.
I know you have. You've sent a lot of kids to college every year.
We do, and hopefully we still do it, but it's going to be challenging, and it's going to be tough for some teams, and right now colleges can't come into our building.
When will they be able to come back in their building? January, that's what I've heard. But I don't know
maybe. Yeah, we haven't heard when they could come in. Maybe January is the landmark for it, and hopefully that things get cleaned up a little bit where they could come in and see the kids and
get an eye test on them and all that stuff.
See what they look like. Most of our kids have maintained pretty good, workout habits, and they look pretty good. I've seen most of them since we've been back to school. They look great. So they're doing something, and most of them have very good grades. So we feel confident that the ones who want to play, we're going to get them something. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be harder than years past, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
No senior film.
Yeah. And they're not having the availability scholarship-wise, too.
Yep. The scholarships may be limited. And we got a couple kids that had some looks before all this hit. One of them, Chris Graham's a big D tackle, 6'3", 6'4", looks... I saw him the other day in the cafeteria. I think he grew 2 inches since July. He's a kid that maybe could have been a D1 kid. Maybe still might. Just because he looks like an NFL player.
He passes the eye test.
Does he ever? And I think he was going to have a breakout season, but I think he's got something from UNK and maybe some other things, and we'll work hard to get him what he wants, and then there's some other guys that are good football players that still might get some NAI.
Well, the NAI is going to be fine because they're moving their kids along.
Yeah, so
they'll graduate them and stuff like, which will free up some scholarships.
Yeah, we'll have a handful there. Aiden Queen, Jackson Tuttle, Braden Palmer Williams. There's some guys that are going to play at the next level, and we had, and there's some other seniors that chose to leave Burke that I think are going to get some scholarships too. So
where do they end up going?
We have two in Florida right now that are doing really well. Hunter Eichelberger's playing like a wide receiver, tight end, linebacker, doing exceptional down there, and in one of our quarterbacks, we were going to have a little quarterback battle, but one of our senior quarterbacks down leading the state of Florida in passing.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Where'd he
Toby
go?
Kellner. I can't remember the name of the school. I think it's a smaller school. I don't know if they play the elite competition of some of the bigger high schools down there, but he's doing great, and I'm sure he's going to get some looks.
Right.
Playing at the next level as is Hunter, and then Nolan Olson is having a really good year for Millard South.
He went over to South Indy
as our seniors, and I think they're going to be okay, and they're going to have the opportunity to play.
That's good.
Yeah.
How many seniors did you graduate this year? Total
Oh, I had 26 seniors this year.
Oh, that's a big class.
Yeah, that was one of the. It was, I think, the biggest class I've ever had.
Is it even bigger than your state championship
year?
year?
Yeah. I think that was maybe 18 or 19. We had 21 last year, and we had 26 in July.
Oh,
26
wow.
seniors. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a good group.
That's why I'll be honest with you. That's why I feel for these kids.
Yeah.
Not being able to play this year and participate and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's tough on
because it's your senior. I mean, I was a senior. That meant a lot to give me an opportunity to play at UNO, and you helped your career. And
it would have been really
Mark
tough.
over here. He played at Primira. I mean, that was his senior year. Got a chance to go to Wesleyan.
Yeah, it's great opportunities, good fun, but
because a lot of kids mature that last year.
Oh yeah, a lot of kids just play as seniors and have great senior years, and they develop and
grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
we would have done some good things this year.
I know the forecast was that you guys were going to be right up there with West and West Side, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm kind of.
You're in that mix, is what I've heard.
But we feel very confident about what we had coming back, and we were going to kind of keep it on the radar, and we had more linemen than I've ever had, and we had some good skill guys, and I felt we could have competed and beat just about anybody. I think that's my opinion. A little biased.
Ben told me one day I was talking to him. He thought you guys.
Yeah, we had a nice club.
Yeah,
those guys could have been one of the best teams I've ever had.
How about next year? What does it look like for you?
Well, we lost some guys. Obviously, we had to replace 26 seniors with guys who don't have junior experience. So, but you know what? We're going to go to work as soon as we can get in the weight room. We're going to start training. We'll mend the ship, and we'll get these guys ready to go.
Good deal.
We're excited about it. We got a good group of guys coming back, led by Devin Jackson, who's one of the best outside linebackers in the country.
Right, he is.
We got some, nice linemen, and Griffin Johnson, Donovan Moody. We got some other guys that we feel that are going to be okay. So it's something we're excited about and looking forward to it.
Well, I wish, because I've known you a long time, Coach. I always thought the world of you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a very good coach and a good man, and I wish you and your family and everybody, I wish you well, and I hope everything gets back on track to where you can be successful next year as a football squad.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I wish you the very, very best.
Well, we're going to give it everything we got. So, I told our guys the other day in a little Zoom session, I said, are you angry? And a lot of them said, yeah, I said, angry's good. So,
yeah, put you in that right frame of mind.
That's a good frame of mind to make you hungry, and we're going to see what happens.
Okay. I used to be a pro wrestler, right, Coach?
I know.
We got to finish this on my note. You ever been hush hush? It means I want food or money.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Hush! Hush! Hush!
Oh, that's nice. All right.